गिरि गोवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, समवेता भक्त वृंद की जय, गौर प्रेम आनंदे.
Hari Hari Bol.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
All glory to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shami Iti Namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. I was going to ask Prananath Prabhu, who recently just returned from India, to read the translation of the prayer, if you don't mind.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes.
Yes. So if we can get that back. There we go.
Anyone who has accepted the two lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya can understand the true essence of devotional service. If one is captivated by the pleasing pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, the dirty things in his heart will all become cleansed. Should I continue, Prabhu?
Yeah.
One who simply takes the holy name of Gaura Sundara, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, will immediately develop love of God. To such a person, I say, bravo, very nice, excellent. If one appreciates the merciful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and feels ecstasy and sometimes cries, this process will immediately help him to understand the eternal pastimes of Radha Krishna. Simply by understanding that the associates of Lord Gauranga are eternally free from material contamination, one can immediately be promoted to the transcendental abode of Lord Krishna. If one simply understands that the land of Navadvip is not different from Vrindavan, then he actually lives in Vrindavan. If one says, let me dive deep into the waves of the nectarian ocean of the transcendental loving movement introduced by Lord Chaitanya, he immediately becomes one of the confidential devotees of Radha and Krishna. It does not matter whether one is a householder living at home, or a vanaprastha, or sannyasi living in the forest. If he chants, O Gauranga, and becomes a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, then Narottama Das begs to have his association.
Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
We're reading the Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 10, the branches of the tree of Lord Chaitanya. Here we have texts 78 and 79. And Mother Kavita can't make it today, so I don't know if we have a volunteer to chant the Bengali.
Hare Krishna, yes, Prabhu.
Thank you, thank you.
খণ্ডবাসী মুকুন্দ দাস হরি রঘুনন্দন নরহরি দাস চিরঞ্জীব সুলোচন এই সব মহাশাখা চৈতন্য কৃপাধাম প্রেম ফল ফুল তা করে যাহা তাহা দান।
Thank you. Sri Khandavashi Mukunda and his son Raghunandana were the 39th branch of the tree. Narahari was the 40th, Chiranjiva the 41st, and Sulochan the 42nd. They were all big branches of the all-merciful tree of Caitanya Mahaprabhu. They distributed the fruits and flowers of love of Godhead anywhere and everywhere. Purport. Sri Mukunda Das was the son of Narayana Das, the eldest brother of Narahari Sharaka. His second brother's name was Madhava Das, and his son was named Raghunandana Das. Descendants of Raghunandana Das still live 4 miles west of Katwa in the village named Shrikhanda, where Raghunandana Das used to live. Raghunandana had one son named Kanai, who had 2 sons, Madan Rai, who was a disciple of Narahari Thakur, and Vangshi Madan. It is estimated that at least 400 men descended in this dynasty. All their names are recorded in the village of Shrikhanda. In the Gaur Gunadesh Deepika 175, it is stated that the Gopi, whose name was Vrindadevi, became Mukundadas, lived in Shrikhanda village, and was very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His wonderful devotion and love for Krishna are described in the Caitanya Caritamrita Madhya Lila chapter 15. It is stated in the Bhakti Ratnakara 8th wave that Raghunandana used to serve a deity of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Narahari Das Sharakar was a very famous devotee. Lochan Das Thakur, the celebrated author of Sri Chaitanya Mangal, was his disciple. In the Chaitanya Mangal, it is stated that Sri Gadadhar Das and Narahari Sharakar were extremely dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but there is no specific statement regarding the inhabitants of the village of Shrikhanda. Chiranjiva and Shulochan were both residents of Shrikhanda, where their descendants are still living. Of Chiranjiva's 2 sons, the elder, Ramchandra Kabiraj, was a disciple of Srinivasa Acharya and an intimate associate of Narottam Das Thakur. The younger son was Govinda Das Kabiraj, the famous Vaishnav poet. Chiranjiva's wife was Sunanda, and his father-in-law was Damodar Sen Kabiraj. Chiranjiva previously lived on the bank of the Ganges River in the village of Kumar Nagara. The Gaura Gunadesh Deepika states that he was formerly Chandrika in Vrindavan. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Stapitang Jena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Katahmaikam Dadati Sha Pandantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Before speaking, I'd like to ask the permission and blessings from all the Vaishnava, but particularly those who are senior by age, advancement in Krishna consciousness, or involvement in the Krishna consciousness movement. Hare Krishna. So we're continuing by the mercy of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami to be introduced to all the associates of Lord Chaitanya. Let's go up to see. Can we go up to the verse? Thank you. So here we're introduced to Kandavavashi Mukunda, Raghunandana, Narahari, Chiranjiva, and Sulochan. So Mukunda here is called Kandavavashi. And do you have any idea why he's called Kandavavashi Mukunda?
Because maybe Mukundatta we had, who was the childhood friend of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes, good. Ram Shyam Prabhu. Because we already heard of another Mukunda, who was, as you said, the childhood friend, and Lord Chaitanya was unhappy that he was associating with the Mayavadis, and so there was a whole pastime with that. So this Mukunda is different than that Mukunda. So this is Kandavavashi Mukunda and his son Raghunandana. So this Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that this Mukunda's glories are described in the Madhya Lila chapter 15. So I have that here. I just thought we could read that. Oh, where are you going someplace here? Yeah, I have it in a book form, but if you want to go, yeah, sure. 15. It starts with verse text 112. See, here it is again. Kandara Mukunda Das. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then turned his attention to three persons: Mukunda Das, Raghunandana, and Sri Narahari, inhabitants of the place called Kanda. Next. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi, next asked Mukunda Das, "You are the father, and your son is Raghunandana, is that so? Or is Srila Raghunandana your father, and you are his son? Please let me know the fact so that my doubts will go away." Mukunda replied, "Raghunandana is my father, and I am his son. This is my decision. All of us have attained devotion to Krishna due to Raghunandana. Therefore, in my mind, he is my father." Hearing Mukunda Das give this proper decision, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed it, saying, "Yes, it is correct. One who awakens devotion to Krishna is certainly the spiritual master." Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy to speak the glories of his devotees. Indeed, when he spoke of their glories, it was as if he had 5 faces. We'll stop here just for a second. So this is a bit unusual that Lord Chaitanya, Mukunda, is saying that his son is actually his father. It seems a little bit contradictory, doesn't it? but on the using the yardstick of who is the person who's delivering spiritual knowledge, Mukunda, as accepted by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, said, oh, Raghunandana is actually my father because he inspired me in devotional service. So this is very interesting. Chanakya Pandit, he says in his Niti Shastras, that one should take gold from a dirty place. You know this? Even though gold is very precious, but if it's dirty, then people may reject it. But if it's coming from a dirty place, then you'll take it. Not other metals, but gold is very nice. You can take a person can take a qualified wife even from a lower caste or larva varna, and you could take good instruction even from someone who's not in a high caste position. So usually the parent thinks the child is someone who should take direction from them, isn't it? But here, Mukunda is admitting that his own son is giving him directions. Because on the spiritual level, the important thing is not their physical or material position, but their advancement in Krishna consciousness. And this is the principle that's important in the spreading of the Hare Krishna movement. You know, the Hare Krishna movement is not based on varna or physical bodily designations. Lord Chaitanya said, Kiba Bipra, Kiba Nashi, Shudra Kene Noi, Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Se Guru Hoy. You know that? What is that translation? You know that? How does it go?
Brahmana?
Whether you are
Brahmin?
Brahmin or Shudra or a sannyas, it doesn't matter. You can take instruction, Krishna consciousness from anybody.
Well, not just anybody, but some particular people. Who are those people?
People who are Krishna conscious.
Krishna Tattva Veta. They know the science of Krishna in truth, right? So if someone knows the science of Krishna in truth, doesn't matter they're in a higher position, a lower position, they're coming from a Chinese background, a Russian background, an American background, a Muslim background, a Hindu background, it doesn't matter. As long as they actually know the man's background, is woman's background, as long as they know the science of Krishna, then that person is guru and they take instruction from them. Do we ever see this taking place in the Srimad Bhagavatam? That is a parent superior, you know, from a material point of view, is taking instruction from a parent inferior. Does that happen?
Yeah, Mother Devahuti is taking instructions from Lord Kapila.
Very good, yes. Ordinarily, you know, the mother and there's the mother and the son, and if the son tries to instruct the mother, they say, well, who are you to tell me what to do? Who are you to tell me? But Devahuti, even though she was the daughter of the king, Manu, the daughter of the king, she took relevant instruction, spiritual instruction from her exalted son, Kapila Muni. These things, happen. So it also happens sometimes, even in the Krishna consciousness movement, in the sense that sometimes the offspring becomes more interested in Krishna consciousness, and by the involvement of the offspring, other relatives and sometimes senior relatives become involved as well subsequently. So in that sense, they're kind of the guru, at least the Vaidya Pradashika guru for the senior. It's an important point. So wherever we can get valid Krishna conscious instruction, that's really valuable for us. Let's take it. even if it's from someone who's a junior or a parent junior. That's one of the principles of this Hare Krishna movement. Srila Prabhupada said that, Lord Chaitanya wanted the Krishna consciousness movement spread all over the world. And in order to do that, there had to be gurus and brahmins in other parts of the world. It's not that all the gurus will be imported from India or exported from India. So therefore, it within that instruction is the understanding that yes, people from various countries in the world will become brahmins and gurus to spread the movement of Lord Chaitanya to every town and village. And that's actually taking place, at least mostly. Now there's a little bit of controversy about women gurus. Well, we won't get into that here today, but the particular qualification was not that they're coming from a Brahmin family or from India or anything, but Krishna Tattaveta, that person who actually knows the science of Krishna, they're the guru. Just like for Mukunda, Kandavasi Mukunda, his son Raghunandana had inspired him in Krishna consciousness. Comments, questions, statements?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Like
Prabhu.
we have example of like Sud Goswami, who is from very low background, in the caste wise, but everybody was listening him. So many thousands and thousands of sages were listening him. He was
Excellent
not Brahmana.
point.
He was not Brahmana.
Yeah, the Sutta, yeah, excellent point,
Yeah.
Kaivalya Prabhu. He was a Sutta. Sutta means from a mixed background, right? His mother was a higher caste than his father, and he was the son, actually the son of Romaharshan Sutta, who was like that. So, but all the so many great sages were there, and they are all accepting him as their as their authority. And they say in the beginning, because he had heard from Shukadev Goswami, he actually knew all the details of Dharma, especially the Bhagavad Dharma, inside and out, and therefore they accepted him, not because he was born in a particular family. Thank you. Yeah, very good point. Very good example. Thank you. Any other statements or questions, observations, additions? Let's go a little further, because it'll talk about this Kandavavashi Mukunda. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then informed all his devotees, please hear about Mukunda's love of Godhead. It is a very deep and pure love and can only be compared to purified gold. Mukunda Das externally appears to be a royal physician engaged in governmental service, but internally he has a deep love for Krishna. Who can understand his love? Purport. Unless Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discloses the fact, no one can understand who is actually a great devotee of the Lord engaged in his service. It is therefore said in the Caitanya Caritamrita Madhya 23:39, Tar Bhakya Kriya Mudra Vigye Na Bhujai. Even the most perfect and learned scholar cannot understand a Vaishnava's activities. A Vaishnava may be engaged in governmental service or in a professional business, so that externally one cannot understand his position. Internally, however, he may be a Nitya Siddha Vaishnava, that is, an eternally liberated Vaishnava. Externally, Mukunda Das was a royal physician, but internally he was the most liberated Paramahamsa devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew this very well, but ordinary men could not understand it, for the activities and plans of a Vaishnava cannot be understood by ordinary men. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his representative understand everything about a devotee, even though the devotee may externally pretend to be an ordinary householder and professional businessman. this is a good instruction for us as well. We can't really understand the activities and position of devotees. So a good rule to follow is to generally offer respects to all devotees, regardless of their condition. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Je bhaje, she boro. You know this? Je bhaje, she boro. That person who's worshiping Krishna, they're great. Abhakta hincha. And non-devotees, they're lower. Krishna bhajana nahi jati kuladi bicha. In the worship of Krishna, we're not considering their background. Jati means birth, kuladi, their family's situation. Yeah. So this is particularly example of this is Ramananda Roy. Ramananda Roy was thought of by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya as a materialistic person. Why? He was from a Shudra background. He was a Shudra background. He was engaged as a politician. He was the governor of Madras and involved in apparently material activities. But when he was enlightened by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could understand. Ramananda Roy had, as mentioned here, this deep devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and is one of the intimate associates of the Lord. So these things can be understood here. Now we'll read a little bit about that. He was a Paramahansa devotee as well, Ramananda Roy. And also, from an external point of view, the Acharya in our disciplic succession, who was considered like the person who revived the Dharma, the Sampradaya of Lord Chaitanya in the modern age, Bhaktivinoda Thakur appeared also from a mundane point of view to be a materially involved man as the deputy magistrate in Puri involved in political affairs. But at the same time, he was a Paramahansa, Gaura Shakti Swarupaya, the special energy of Lord Chaitanya to revive the Lord Chaitanya Sankirtan movement. Next. One day, Mukunda Das, the royal physician, was seated with the Muslim king on a high platform and was telling the king about a medical treatment. While the king and Mukunda Das were conversing, a servant brought a fan made of peacock feathers to shade the king's head from the sun. Consequently, he held the fan above the king's head. Just by seeing the peacock feathered fan, Mukunda Das became absorbed in ecstatic love of Godhead and fell from the high platform onto the ground. The king, fearing that the royal physician had been killed, personally descended and brought him to consciousness. When the king asked Mukunda, "Where is it paining you?" Mukunda replied, "I'm not very much pained." The king inquired, "Mukunda, why did you fall down?" Mukunda replied, "My dear king, I have a disease like epilepsy." Being extraordinarily intelligent, the king could understand the whole affair. In his estimation, Mukunda was a most uncommon, exalted, liberated personality. So what happened there? What happened?
Just the sight of the peacock feather reminded him of Krishna.
Yeah, so then?
He felt ecstasy and fainted.
Fainted or lost his external consciousness, didn't pay attention, and then fell. Right. So this sometimes happens for those who are on a very elevated platform. Do you think he really had epilepsy?
No. No.
No. There's another, in case you didn't know, there's another saint, the supposed saint in Bengala who has appeared in the 19th century, who actually did have epilepsy. Or they say he had epilepsy, but he had similar, or he had not similar, but he had fainting spells, and they were labeled as ecstatic things, but actually it was epilepsy. But in this case, Mukunda, from the Kandavasi Mukunda, was a doctor, physician, and even though he was carefully attending the Muslim king, the remembrance of Krishna was so powerful, it overwhelmed him for a moment, and he lost his balance or lost his position and fell. Certain things are described in the Nectar Devotion are impetuses for ecstatic love. And here in this case, we see that it was the peacock feather, ecstatic love of Krishna, I should say. It was the peacock feather that stimulated that. On the mundane plane, there's a similar thing in a negative way. People suffer from PTSD. You know what that post-traumatic stress disorder? So say they were shot by a gun, and then if they hear a loud noise, then they go through a great anxiety, an episode of great anxiety. So it's good to know that that can also happen in the positive way, when there are certain things that will remind you of Krishna consciousness, whether it might be his peacock feather, his prasadam, his devotees, the hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam or Caitanya Caritamrita. That gives us, we get into a different realm where we are appreciating the existence and relationship with Lord Krishna. Okay, back to that. Can we go back to that where we were? That purport. Oh, good. Gosh, good. So then there are these three devotees, Mukunda, Raghunandana, and Narahari Sharakara. And then we heard about Chiranjiva. Let's go down for Chiranjiva. Yeah. Chiranjiva and Sulochan were both resident of Sri Khanda, and their descendants are still living. So here you see one of Chiranjiva's two sons, the elder Ramchandra Kabiraj, was a disciple of Srinivasa Acharya, and the younger son was Govinda Das Kabiraj, Vaishnava poet. So you know any place where this Ramchandra Kabiraj is mentioned?
Ramachandra Sangha Mage Narottama Das. That's the song.
Yes, that's the Ramchandra mentioned here. Ramchandra, this is in the song Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karamori Toba Vidake Doyalu Jagat Sangsar. Yeah, Ramchandra Kabiraj was the older son of Chiranjiva, and he and his younger brother Govinda Das. So they were the sons of the Chiranjiva, who was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. But somehow, according to the Bhakti Ratnakara, was written by Narahari Thakur, somehow they became involved mostly with their worshipping of Lord. They became Shaktas. Shaktas are people who worship who?
Devi.
Devi, yeah. Durga, yeah. So they became, at least for a brief period, they were worshiping Durga. But this is in the generation of just after Lord Chaitanya. So we're seeing Lord Chaitanya's associates, personal associates, and then right after Lord Chaitanya, there was Narottam Das Thakur and his associates, and many other devotees there. So many of these devotees are described in the book called Bhakti Ratnakara, which is cited above. So they were both Ramchandra and his brother were somehow, even though they were sons of Chiranjiva, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, they became involved with Durga worship, and that they were worshiping that. And while Ramchandra was giving a discourse on the glories of Mother Durga, Srinivasacharya happened to walk by, and he looked outside. They saw them. They noticed each other, and they thought. And Ramchandra Kabira said, "That person is very attractive. I need to meet that person." So he went. Shortly thereafter, he went and met Srinivasacharya and heard from him the Srimad Bhagavatam and became a great devotee then. Same, later his brother also, Govinda Das, became a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya in the line of Lord Chaitanya and became a disciple of Srinivasacharya. So, and Govinda Das Kaviraj, you may know, we sing sometime a song composed by him. Do you know that song? Yes. Bhajahure mana Srinandanandana Abhay Charanadavindare. Oh, my mind. You just take shelter of the son of Maharaj Nanda, because if we can get the shelter of the son of Nanda Maharaj, then our fears will be dissipated. We'll become fearless. Abhaya Charanadavinda, because those lotus feet are the shelter for all fearless persons. So then the last line is Shravana Kirtana Smarana Bandhana Pada Sevana Dasyare Pujana Shakijan Atmanivena Govinda Das Abhilas. That Govinda Das, that's Govinda Das Kaviraj here mentioned. Yes. So questions, comments, observations? No, I don't see any hands up. We're very fortunate. So okay, we were going to repeat the names of all the people, the devotees that we're meeting. Maybe not face to face, but in sound. Let's see, up a little bit more. Yeah. Kandavavasi Mukunda.
Kandavavasi Mukunda.
Yeah, Raghunandana.
Raghunandana.
Narahari.
Narahari.
Chiranjiva.
Chiranjiva.
Sulochan.
Sulochan.
And the purport, Srila Prabhupada introduced us to Ramchandra Kaviraj.
Ramchandra Kaviraj.
And Govinda Das Kaviraj.
Govinda Das Kaviraj.
Yeah. Good. Thank you. And their gives their identity in Vrindavan, in Krishna Lila. Okay, text 80.
Kulin Grambhashi Shatturaj Ramanando Jodunath Purushottamo Shankar Vidyanando.
Satyaraj, Ramananda, Yadunath, Purushottam, Shankar, Vidyananda all belong to the 20th branch. 20th branch. Wait. I thought we passed 20 already. What was the last one? Yeah, we're the 39th branch. Oh, we must be going back. We were the 39. Let's see. Satyaraj, Ramananda, Yadunath, Purushottam, Shankar, and Vidyananda all belong to the 20th branch. They were inhabitants of the village known as.
We see this in verse number 1076, verse mentioned as 38th branch.
Yeah, so we must be going back. We're reviewing a little bit here because we went back to the 20th. Okay. So Satyaraj, yeah. There's no purport here, so we're just going to say Satyaraj. Ramananda. Yadunath. Purushottam. Shankara. And Vidyananda. Additional inhabitants of Kulina Gram. Bengali?
বাণীনাথ বসু, সরি প্রভু, বাণীনাথ বসু আদি যত গ্রামী জন সবাই চৈতন্য বৃত্ত, চৈতন্য প্রাণধন।
All the inhabitants of Kulinagram village, headed by Baninath Bashu, were servants of Lord Chaitanya, who was their only life and wealth. Chaitanya Pranadhan. So this is Baninath Bashu.
বাণীনাথ বসু।
Yeah, text 82.
প্রভু কহে কুলিন গ্রামের যে হয় কুকুর, সেই মোর প্রিয় অন্যজন বহুদূর।
The Lord said, what to speak of others? Even a dog in the village of Kulina Gram is my dear friend.
কুলিন গ্রামের ভাগ্য কহনে না যায়, শুকর চড়ায় ডোম সে কৃষ্ণ গায়।
No one, whoops, I can't say that. No one can describe the fortunate position of Kulina Gram. It is so sublime that even sweepers who tend their hogs there also chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
অনুপম বল্লভ শ্রীরূপ সনাতন, এই তিন শাখা বৃক্ষের পশ্চিমে সর্বোত্তম।
A little bit. Okay. Whoops. On the western side were the 43rd, 44th, and 45th branches, Sri Sanatan, Sri Rupa, and Anupam. They were the best of all. I don't know if we should go on from this. Maybe we should save this for next time, because it's already 8:42. Yeah, I think we should do that. These are very important devotees, the Rupa, Sanatan, and Anupam. Okay, the questions, comments, additions, subtraction.
This
Kulina,
Charuchandra Prabhu, I see your hand up.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. The reason we went back to the 20th branch, those are the sub branches of Haridas Thakur. So it's mentioned. Yeah.
Thanks for that. Thank you very much for that. So we'd already taken that as yes, sub branches. Thank you. Ram Shyam Prabhu.
just I wanted to understand on that Kulinagram, like since devotees or villagers from the Kulinagram all were chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, that even the sweeper or dog or hogs are friend to him, like that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I just wanted to say it's just a realization, just a thought I had.
Oh, good.
Realizations
we accept, we like.
Last week or a week or so ago, you were saying you were enjoying reading this again in the company of all the devotees. I'm not quite at the enjoyment level, but I was just thinking, I tried to read ahead a few verses to see if I can prepare. So the first verse we read today was mentioning the Madhya Leela chapter 15 about him being Vrinda Devi from before. And that is where I was stuck. Listening to you explain it and reading it together today, I understood what the point was about those verses, that he accepted his son as his guru. But I completely missed that point. But today, you made that clear. So I was just thinking, definitely reading in the association and hearing this in the association of devotees makes things a lot more clearer. Hopefully I will get to the enjoyment level. Right now I'm still trying to understand, and so I'm hoping all this will continue for a very long time so we can get through the Caitanya Caritamrita together.
Thank you. Yeah, the sages at Naimisharanya, how long were they prepared to do the sacrifice there?
They were at it for 1,000 years.
Sahasra Samamasata. Yeah, they're ready to keep on going hearing for 1,000 years. I don't know if I don't think we'll make it that long, but perhaps we can carry on at least some years. That'll be great. Yeah. Vayam tu navatipyama uttama shalka vikrame. They said we never tire of hearing these activities, the sages. So hopefully we'll come to that position that we can also appreciate and in a service devotional mood about hearing about Lord Chaitanya, his activities, his associates, his instructions, all. Thank you. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa
Vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Thank you.
Vaishnavendra ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Vishnugada Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.